Infernal blessings. We are back with another video. Before we begin, a couple quick announcements. This ain't gonna be too long. This will be a short tutorial as I'm en route from point A to point B. Real quick, couple quick announcements. Yearly forecast readings. Like I said, it's extremely busy right now. They will, again, since the last video, nobody asked if I'm still doing them because I think the message was clear in the previous video. They will be running. I'll be doing them until the end of February. Last week in February, the first couple of days in March. That's all dependent on how they're booked. But anyway, if you're interested in the yearly forecast reading, you can book yours now. In addition to any other type of reading I offer, Clepothic Demonic readings, Santa Muerte readings, Egyptian Oracle readings, shadow work readings, which is always a great place to start to get a good sense of direction of what you should be doing, what direction you need to be going in. Deity readings to see what gods, goddesses, and demons walk with you. Or maybe you're just interested in a spiritual consultation. You just got some questions, you need clarity on something, or maybe you want to focus on a specific thing on the path, on the occult or the left-hand path. Some people just use it as a session. They come, as I said before, with a long list of questions that they just want to ask, and they just use it as a one-on-one. Any of the aforementioned, whichever one, a reading or a consultation, shoot me the email, khnum19@gmail.com. Please include in the email your time zone and your full weekly availability. Please don't email me. I'm available Wednesday at 2 o'clock. It's, again, I wish it was just easy for you to pick an appointment like that. It doesn't work like that. And I still get people that do that. They think that they email me the time that they want to do it. I wish it was that easy, but it's not. All right, so shoot me that email. If you want to sign up for classes, the way to sign up for classes is to go to the official Primordial Chaos Patreon page, patreon.com/Baniti, Baniti. That's patreon.com/Baniti, Baniti. Tier 3 is the tier you want to join. That is going to give you access to the 3 private classes I do every month on Patreon, including a group ritual we do at the end of the month. And also keep in mind, it gives you access to everything in the archives from going 4 or 5 years back. So about 5 years now, I should say. So it doesn't just give you access from the day you join moving forward. You get access to everything in the archive, everything in the content. Okay? So keep that in mind. Also, don't forget to support all the social media pages. Primordial Chaos 9 on Instagram. Primordial Chaos, 2 words, on Facebook. And, well, as the recording of this video, we'll know in about a day or two if TikTok is still around. Primordial Chaos 3 on TikTok. And remember, the recording of this video is, today's the 17th of January, 2025. Just saw the breaking news this morning. Looks like they're going to do that ban on TikTok unless somebody buys it from the Chinese-owned company that owns it now. I'm not going to get into my thoughts with all that shit, but so not looking good for TikTok. For those that are on TikTok, and I had just started building up that platform in the last 7 months to a year, but it is what it is. I mean, but anyway, Primordial Chaos 3 on TikTok. And also don't forget to check out the Primordial Chaos podcast, available on Spotify and all major podcast platforms. The direct link to my podcast, my contact email address, the social media pages, and the direct link to the Primordial Chaos Patreon page to sign up for classes. All that's in the description box of this video you're watching right now. So I'm in a Sith kind of mood today. Obviously, I got my little Sith Lord hat on today. You know, it's how it is on this path. We get up some days, as I told you guys in previous videos. The beauty about being on a path of self-mastery is you just kind of, like, the best word I could describe is you just kind of, you know how people, remember that saying we used to hear, or the saying you hear all the time, you just go with the flow? The beauty, as I told you guys before, we don't have this pressure that we're obligated because we gave ourselves a title that we belong to a specific system. right? You say you're a Muslim, you have to follow all of the rules and regulations of Islam. Same thing if you're a Christian, you're a Jew, if you're a Buddhist, if you give yourself a title and you make the claim that you're exclusive to a specific spiritual system, you're judged according to the parameters of that spiritual system, right? That's facts. So the Sith philosophy, and like I say, I use the Sith spirituality and philosophy, and I transition that into my path to self-mastery, just like you can do with any archetype. Because remember, archetype is not just, the meaning and the understanding of that is not just limited to a deity. And I have to always reiterate that because people get that shit confused and twisted. But the archetype of the Sith as a whole can be used as a spiritual system on your path to self-mastery to grow and evolve, because everything that the Sith philosophy represents. And as you guys know, and those who may not know, if you are interested in learning more about Sith philosophy and spirituality, I've had now for the last couple years an ongoing Sith class, which is one of the ongoing classes, or the many ongoing classes on the Patreon page. I have a Sith Darkside Alchemy class that I definitely think for those that are into Sith philosophy and spirituality would highly be interested. Now, I want to make this clear, because sometimes people get this twisted. You have a lot of people that are into the whole Sith Jedi thing from the entertainment, Hollywood, Star Wars trilogy aspect. That's cool. I'm a Star Wars fan too. I love the Star Wars trilogy. I love all the Star Wars movies. There's a lot you can get out of that, but I want to make it clear. I don't want people to think the class that I do is centered around the movies. It's not. All right. So if you're looking for that type of thing, it's not that type of class. It's an occult left-hand path class, and I show you how you use the Book of Sith, how you use the Sith teachings, just like you would say the Necronomicon, which we have that class tonight, matter of fact, of the recording of this video. I'm gonna do a short tutorial, probably one of my next videos here as I'm doing my car rides from point A to point B. The Necronomicon class, like the Necronomicon and Lovecraft, you can use any mythology or fiction or character type, and that applies. That could be to movies, that could be to characters, superheroes, etc. When you know how to use that archetype on your path to self-mastery, just like anything else, it can be beneficial for your results. Now, we understand the code of Sith. I'm not going to go through all the basics, because it's not what I really want to do in this video. The code is the Sith code in general really speaks volumes to the occultist or the left-hand path practitioner, because that's what this is about. It's about mastering one's self. You are the God, you are the master, you are the ruler of your existence. You can go into the ruler too and all the other things, but that's not what this video is about. I want to talk about the Sith Darkside, because it's the class that we do. Sith Darkside Alchemy being used as a very transformative tool, and a great, and like I said, a lot of the classes that I do on the Patreon complement your shadow work and your shadow work classes. The Sith spirituality and philosophy is geared around a lot of challenges, a lot of exercises to strengthen your mental willpower, your mental fortitude, to really take you to places that maybe possibly you didn't think you had the ability or you were qualified to go, and the way it challenges you, right? Because the reality is on this path, we all need to be challenged. If we're not challenged, the best that resides within us cannot come out. That's the way the greatness comes out of you, when you are challenged, right? If you're on a spiritual path where it's just so rigid and it's just so mundane, it's the same thing over and over, there's no growth there. And where there's no growth, there is no change. So if you're the Sith spirituality brings about, like, again, one of our main goals of why we work on this path is change. Right? It's about conquering your fears. Right? So this is just a quick tutorial. It's about conquering your fears and facing your challenges, and being the greatest you can become. First and foremost for yourself, like I've said many times before, if you are not right, you are no good to anybody or anything else around you. You can't help others if you're not right. When I say help, I'm talking about those that you're affiliated with, those that you can grow with, or those who you have, and you, I want to make this clear, you, based on circumstances, have, come to the conclusion that this is a person you can sincerely help because they want to learn and grow. The problem with a lot of other spiritual systems, they want to teach you this kumbaya shit, love the world, save everybody, we're all equal, this, that, and the third, hold my hand, I'll hold your hand, and we'll go skipping through grass fields and lilies, right? But what they don't teach you is that is delusional when the individual first does not address aspects of themselves that need to be worked on, whether that's character flaws. In the Sith Darkside Alchemy class, it really addresses for an example, habits, right? We'll talk about that real quick, right? For those that are in the class, and those of you might be familiar with this, right? One of the things the Sith Darkside Alchemy philosophy challenges you: what habits do you have, right? And this is a motherfucker right here, because if you're really real about what I'm about to say in regards to habits, you're going to get a lot of answers about yourself, good and bad. What habits do I have that are destructive to my growth? Right? That was one of the things we tackled. We tackle that too on levels in the shadow work class. But what habits and behaviors, because behaviors exhibit habits, so they're kind of linked in and tied together. What behaviors and habits do I exhibit that are destructive to my personal growth? That could be addictions. That could be addiction to food. That could be addiction, could be spending money recklessly where you have no discipline, no control. A sex addiction where you're addicted to pornography. You can never get enough of sex. You're never satisfied. You never get full gratification. Maybe you're just sex crazed. That can be a serious addiction, because as I've said to you guys before, the sex energy and harnessing that and harmonize it is a very, very disciplined aspect that an individual needs to acquire in order for them not to be devoured, by the sex force, which can be very destructive. So I've always brought up the point, how can an individual engage in their desires, right? Because it's not about suppressing all your desires, especially when it comes to sexual energy. How do I indulge? How do I appease and satisfy my desires, but not to the point where it becomes destructive and it ruins my life? That could be a behavior that you don't have under control. Your temper, anger management, right? I'm sure all of us to some degree struggle with that. Patience, or lack of, I should say, right? The Sith philosophy challenges you to master those things, because you cannot be like the half said, like a Sith Lord, if you do not have control over those things. I just did a video, I think about a week or so ago. It was probably 2 or 3 videos before this, I can't remember. The importance of destroying destructive things about yourself that are destroying you. That's kind of what I'm getting at here a little bit more, but a little bit more in depth and in detail. So it is critical and it's important that you observe your behaviors and habits, and then you address them, good and bad. Now look, they could be, not all behavior and habits are bad. When you develop good habits, like things that your own personal disciplines, your consistency, you do things that really benefit you grow. That could be, so we're clear on this, that could be like exercising regularly, eating to the best of your ability, managing your money in a smart and prudent way according to your lifestyle, satisfying your sexual desires and energy, but not to the point where you have no discipline or control. That's a great habit, right? So there's the reverse to that. So it's not just all gloom and doom and failure and, oh my God, you're burying me with all this. Because guess what? At the end of the day, if you're real with yourself, you're gonna admit, not only yourself, but when you look at things, as I always say, man, damn, people are fucked up out here, including myself. Don't take yourself out that equation, okay? I know everybody likes to think they perfect. They ain't got shit wrong with them. When they take a shit, it doesn't smell. It smells like roses. The perfect people that think that there's nothing wrong with them. You guys, power to you. But that's a bunch of delusional bullshit, right? And what the Sith philosophy makes you understand, you like we say, you embrace every aspect of yourself, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And one thing it's very big on is, how do I harness anger and rage? But harness that power of anger and rage, but use it in a productive way that's going to help me on my path and my growth. Well, there's many rituals we do on the occult and the left-hand path, and especially with Sith Darkside Alchemy, where we take that rage and anger and channel it specifically for something, and the ritual created for that is designed for that specific intent. So it goes very intense and very, personalized when an individual is on this path and they have clear objectives, what they're working towards. Just like anything else, then that individual designs ritual work geared for those specific objectives, okay? So understanding, and when you say dark side alchemy, anytime you're working with alchemy, right? Because alchemy can be used in a multitude of systems, like we're doing the Egyptian Hermetic Alchemy class. Alchemy is about transformation, okay? Transformation, change, growth, right? Not stagnation, not rigid, mundane, repetitive systems of spirituality where there's no change. It's the same rigmarole every week. Nothing changes, etc., etc. No. I told you the beauty of this path. I don't care if it's the Sith philosophy, working with Luciferian spirituality, etc., whatever it is. The beauty of, one of the other beauties of this path is, always be prepared for change and challenges. And that's a good thing. Always be prepared for changes and challenges. Okay? Don't come on this path thinking you find a niche or you like something and that's cool and shit, and then you get comfortable. And then you get complacent. And I've seen this happen. People will come on this path and maybe they do vampire magic or Egyptian Heka or they do the Clipoth or whatever. And as I said many times before in other videos and classes, yes, there's going to be certain things on this path that you like more than others, certain things you gravitate to more than others, etc. But sometimes people make the mistake of, hold on, picking my son up from school. Gotta put the little number thing out. But people make the mistake of falling in love with a particular system. And then the problem is then they become exclusively vampirism or a vampire magician. Or they exclusively become, a Luciferian practitioner or whatever it may be. You get my point, right? That's a huge mistake on this path. A huge mistake. Okay? Why it's a huge mistake, as you've heard me say in the past, because being versatile is critical. Especially if you're practicing Sith, Darkside Alchemy, and philosophy, you better be versatile. And really anything across the board, be versatile. Because if you do not have no versatility, people that are not versatile can't adjust to change. Right? Because when complacency creeps in, so does a false sense of security and comfort. All right? And you see what's going on out here in the world, right? We see it, what's going on out here in the world. Things are changing rapidly. And if we're not changing along with those things in accordance with what's going on inside of us and in our life, then the change, we don't adapt to it correctly. It becomes destructive and it can devour us. All right? So Sith Darkside Alchemy, right, is a beautiful thing because, as I mentioned earlier in the video, the challenges. A lot of the work we do, they're called challenges. And not all of it. Sometimes you hear the word rituals. Yes, there's ritual work, right? We do ritual work, a lot of ritual work on that path. But The challenges are they're separate from what one would label rituals. As I said in the beginning of the videos, the challenges is what brings out the greatness in you. It brings out the spiritual discipline maybe you thought that you never had or weren't capable of, right? And it's a beautiful thing, because we've done like certain meditations or the blade challenge for just throwing a few things out there that require a lot of focus, concentration, and discipline. And focus, concentration, and discipline, especially in accordance with meditation and spirituality and focusing on your intent, and having that passion and power in your invocations, right? Very important, right? That's in the Sith code. Passion is your power. And I've always said before, sometimes I've been around people, affiliated with people in ritual work, and there's no passion in their rituals, right? Without passion, it's just the energy is not good, and the outcome more than likely is not good. You can't go into your rituals just like monotonous and just very rigid and structured. No, you got to have that passion and that energy when you're doing your ritual work, right? Passion is one of the key components of the Sith code. Passion is what? My power. So as I said, for those that don't have the passion for this, they don't have the power either. And that's why they don't have the passion. One serves the other, vice versa. They go hand in hand. Okay? You got to have a passion to do this shit, period. Right? You hear that term all the time. It could be sports, it could be this, that, or the third. You gotta have a passion for it in order to be successful at it. And that's true. In order to be successful at everything, you must have a passion. Even for things that, and this is where the tough part comes in life, even for things that you're not so enthused or interested in or have that fire and passion about. But you sometimes, whatever it is that comes your way, you must master that shit from front to back, side to side, up and down, whatever. It's critical. Okay? So the question I would ask, and I've asked this before in classes over the years, do you have a passion for this? Do you have a passion for what you do? I know I do. Right? It's what fuels me on a daily basis. It's what motivates me to get up every morning. It's what motivates and fuels me to do the things I gotta do on all levels, not just spiritual, but it transitions into my everyday mundane life. Shit I gotta do to survive, to make money, this, that, and the third. I try to take that approach, as we talk about in this path, that your whole entire life is a ritual, not just when you go to the ritual chamber, right? But anyway, the point is, without staying too long-winded, the point is Sith Darkside Alchemy is about serious transformation, change, and growth. And that's across the board, just about what everything we do on this path. Every deity you're going to see, I don't care if it's Kali, I don't care if it's a clip-off, I don't care if it's Set, right? And by the way, the Set work is going, have gotten some feedback of some of you guys the last week or so about the Black Flame meditation. And some of you guys have incorporated the Cornelian stones. We'll talk about that another time. But it's all of that transformation and change is across the board with everything I just mentioned. It's any of those spiritual paths, all right? So anyway, ask yourself, like the Sith Code says, do you have the passion and the power to really take hold of your destiny, become who you're capable of becoming and should become in order to grow on this path and master yourself? Ask yourself that, be honest with yourself. Okay? And then kind of go from there. All right? Well, anyway, that's it. I won't be too long-winded with this because I am here at the school about to pull around. Hopefully this short video helped you. If you need to reach out to me for a yearly forecast reading or any type of reading or a consultation, my contact email address along with the link for the podcast, along with the link for the social media pages and also the direct link to the Primordial Chaos Patreon page to sign up for classes. Go to the Patreon page, patreon.com/Baniti, Baniti. And you can go to the collection section and you can see all the ongoing classes. 2 new classes added. We just did last week the first Egyptian Hermetic Alchemy class. Tonight, I believe, is the recording of this video. We have the first Necronomicon class. We have shadow work classes on there, 23 and counting. We have Luciferian magic classes on there, Clepothic sorcery classes ongoing on there right now. Eastern left-hand path occult class, esoterical occult, Bible study class. And now I'm getting ready. I don't know if I'm going to do it next month. I want to add now the esoterical Quran and Islam, esoterical Quran and Sufi class. That's going to be added. I think we're going to throw that in next month. It's just tough, and I only mentioned some. Vampiric magic class, Egyptian vampiric magic. I mean, you can see all the class. It's a lot, and it's constantly growing. And I say this again with confidence, not arrogance. Nobody is giving you the content and material that I'm giving you for the price I'm giving it to you. And for the amount of classes you have access to the amount of rituals you also have access to. If you're looking, look, books, great, collect your books, read them, research. But if you're looking for something hands-on to really grow on the occult and the left-hand path, there's enough of material on the Patreon page that's going to keep you busy for years. You more than likely ain't going to get to all of it. All right, that's what I'm about. That's what I do. My motto is faith without works, right? As they say in the Bible, is dead. It's not just about mouth service. It's about putting in work. It's about actions backing up that. And if there's no actions and work backing up with what the knowledge an individual claims they have, then it's pointless. All right? So check out the Patreon page, patreon.com/Baniti, Baniti. And tier 3, that's the tier you want to go to. That'll give you access to the 3 private classes I do every month on Patreon. All right? Other than that, you guys know where to reach me. I am out of here. We will talk soon. Infernal blessings.